Are you ready?
Yes, yeah, you're sorry, Mr. Reyes, you've been
Thank you,
recognized.
Council President. Colleagues, items 8, 9, and 10 is a body of work that goes back 6 years. I want to thank my colleague, Councilman Rosendahl, for the joint committee between Transportation and Planning, Land Use, and Management. It was a culminating committee meeting that addressed some very significant issues that speaks to how this city performs. It's a cultural shift towards different types of transportation, different modes, bicycles. I see Mr. Baum out in the audience, Alex Baum, who has been one of the leaders going back almost over 20 years. Thank you, Mr. Baum, for being here. An amazing supporter of the bicycle system and the whole process. Colleagues, item 8, I speak to you so that we can approve the item. It is essentially requesting a quarterly status report on the implementation of the 2010 plan, initiated by motions from Councilor Carretz and Garcetti, and essentially is asking for the accountability in making sure that it's being implemented. It would come to Plum. It's a friendly amendment, and I thank you for support. Item number 9, I would ask that we approve. It's an implementation plan. Its key component is to ensure that the bike plan is a living document that achieves measurable results. I'm looking forward to the addition of bike lanes on 7th Street, my district. If we implement this, we will be able to add to a body of information that requests economic data. We can gather this information and look at how we assess the impact on businesses along this corridor. Essentially, it'll give us bottom line results and improve the environment and how we can move the whole process of opening up more opportunities for bicycles to ride on our streets, and hopefully eliminate the myth that fewer lanes means more hardships on businesses. As a matter of fact, if we have more complete streets, wider sidewalks, more bike lanes, we have more pedestrian traffic, it should enhance our business along these corridors. And this request for that study. On item 10, I'd like to thank the Department of City Planning and the Department of Transportation for bringing this a long-awaited plan forward. Like I said, almost 6, 7 years in the process. I'd like to thank the many advocates of the community and the community members who contributed their time and knowledge to this plan. I think it puts Los Angeles on the right path towards developing a comprehensive network that addresses all users with varying levels of ability and comfort riding in an urban environment. It is also a key component to create a more livable and environmentally sustainable city where bicycles are a critical part of the transportation infrastructure, as well as the recreational infrastructure in areas such as the Los Angeles River Bike Path. I look forward to working ahead to revise our street designations, implement complete streets, and really take this plan to the next level. In a very general sense, colleagues, we're giving the council a toolbox, a chest to work with. We are not changing any streets as of this moment. The general plan is identifying these opportunities. It is up to us and the mayor's office to find the resources to implement these changes. What they have given us is a great map to work with. They have created different levels of circulation patterns, systems that speaks to safety, enhancing our environment, and moving forward in a plan that is very, very constructive. So when we work at the issue of bike paths, pedestrian paths, equestrian paths, all those issues could be addressed in the future by each council member who takes on these kinds of opportunities. Some might think of them as challenges, but it's set before us so we can move forward. So I can ask the staff to come to the table, please. Can you please introduce yourself and just give us a quick summary of what this process does.
Good morning, council members. Michael LeGrand, Department of City Planning.
Amir Sadati, LA DOT Interim General Manager.
And Ken Bernstein, Department of City Planning.
A quick summary, because I know Councilman Rosendahl, as Chair of Transportation, has also addressed these issues, and I'd like to leave open the dialogue for him as well as a partner in this process and joint committee process.
Perfect. Council members, this is a very important day for Los Angeles. As we look at ways to get away from the car-centric culture of Los Angeles and move to multiple modes of transportation, bicycling is the most important thing to get us there. It's something most people can afford, and it's something most people can do. And we think it's very important in terms of the land use, sustainability, and healthy environments initiative that the department is proposing. This bike plan has a lot of consensus. We've worked with stakeholders from all across the city to bring to you a plan that really moves the planning department as well as the city in a direction that's very positive for Los Angeles. Having said that, I'll have Mr. Sadati say a few words.
Thank you, council members. And as Mr. Legrand mentioned, this is a historic day for Los Angeles where we're putting together a great map, a DNA structure for the backbone of the city's bicycle master plan. And this wouldn't have happened without the partnership and the great teamwork between the city planning, DOT, and all the staff that work together through those many meetings and listening to all the different sides on how can we do this better. So I congratulate Michael, you and your staff, and as well as my staff, Michelle Mowry and Kong Hu, on this very historic day, and not only putting the map together, Councilmember Reyes, but also the implementation. And I think that's, you said the key words. Now we've got a map and a tool chest, but it will be up to you and the mayor and the stakeholders to figure out a way to get those 200 miles built. There will be some challenges, but I think we can do it together.
And I think, as Councilmember Perry just shared with me, we now have an opportunity to open up different approaches, different methodologies to raising money, to look at business corridors, to see how we can leverage these opportunities to create environments that allows us to fund these positions. So with that, I want to thank Councilman Rosendahl. He has taken this issue to another level. It had been sitting dormant for some time in Transportation Committee, but with his energy and leadership, we were able to reach this juncture. I want to thank you, Councilmember, for your hard work.
Thank you, Councilmember, for your hard work.
Thank you. Mr. Rosendahl.
In fact, Ed has been on this issue for as long as he's been on the council. Frankly, I don't want to go through a lot of ballyhoo here right now. I just want to say a couple of quick things. Tom LaBonge, I want you to take some of my time right now because the equestrians and the hikers have an issue. The cyclists seem to be all together pretty much on this issue, and I want to keep the 12 votes so we can move forward with it. Mr. Weston will come back by the vote. But frankly, to get 200 miles going in the right direction and make safe bike paths is the key element for me. And I want us to report back periodically, and I want to say to the cyclists and everybody else out there, if you want to tweak things or you think things need to be modified, this is a work in progress. I'm not leaving, at least for the next couple of years, and if the people want to give me a third term, then I'll be here for the next 5 years through that plan. That's at least my plan, is to see that all this is constantly renewed, constantly looked at, and that we find new avenues and new ways to go it. When Alex Thompson in my district opened up that bikeway thing there, and I went in there, and he's asking me to get on a bicycle because, you know, I'm fighting hard for this. I will get on when somebody gives me a safe passage where I can move forward with. As a guy who's 65, I got to be real careful. I don't want to end up like the mayor did, getting slapped around a bit, okay? All right, so with that as a backdrop, I want to say a lot more, but I'm going to hold it and just give Mr. LaBonge, the moment, who has worked tirelessly to put amendments together and to be building consensus.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendahl. This is an important document, but also there's an important amendment. And Mr. LeGrand, you helped me craft that in our meeting here. The amendment calls for the recognition of the Parks Commission, that the Parks Commission is responsible for the Parks Department. There's a representative of the Parks Service here, and if you could just state for the record about the interest that their commission has, because the Planning Department necessarily does not have jurisdiction over the Park Department. Is that correct?
Correct.
So anything when we deal with the parks, because I appreciate Mr. Reyes so much for what you do in land use, the river, Mr. Rosendahl on transportation. This did not go through Arts and Parks. It went through transportation. It went through Plum. So we have to protect the interests of the parks, and working with the cycling community, which I'm proud of what they have done through the years, that this now I want to hear from the Parks Department to assure our hikers and our equestrians are in the mix here as we go forward. Please.
Hi, my name is Melinda Geyer with Recreation and Parks, and I just wanted to let everyone know that we are in support of the amending language that was added to Policy 3.3.5, which reiterates and strengthens the fact that any change in use of a trail within a park falls under the jurisdiction of the Commission of Recreation and Parks.
And with that being said, as we deliberate on this here, I'm proud that my parents in the 1930s rode on the Los Angeles River. I'm proud when I worked for John Farrar to get the first river bikeway built. I'm proud when I got elected to get the Alex Bomb Bridge built at Los Feliz with the help of DWP to get it across Los Feliz. I'm proud of Eric Garcetti and what Mr. Reyes has done to extend the bikeway on the river. But it's not just the river, it's other parts of the city that we're working on, including 4th Street, Oxford, New Hampshire, and others, as they match and make an opportunity for people to ride safely and enjoy the city. So I just wanted to say that. I know there's a number of cards. If there is a public hearing, it should be a 10-minute maximum so the people could voice their concerns for the record, and then we could move forward. Thank you very much.
Mr. Koretz, followed by Mr. Garcetti, then Mr. Rosendahl.
Well, first I'd like to thank Mr. Rosendahl and Mr. Reyes for all their great work on this, and the fact that this is the most significant progress I think we've made for cyclists, certainly in my lifetime, and I wanted to express my personal appreciation. Now, I have some minor technical changes that planning is aware of, and the goal is to connect some bike-friendly streets to each other in my area. It's important to close this gap for two reasons. Many students at local Jewish schools, including the Yeshiva Gedola at Olympic and Cochrane, bicycle to school and currently ride on Alta Vista north of 3rd Street. And number two, the 4th Street Bike Boulevard likely will end at Cochrane Avenue. And because Park La Brea and Pan Pacific Park preclude east-west local streets, this northern extension will allow bicyclists to reach another bicycle-friendly street that will allow them to travel further west. So the proposed changes are to change the southern terminus of the Formosa Avenue bicycle-friendly street with a new description, Formosa Avenue to West Hollywood City limit at Romaine to Rosewood Avenue. Number two, to add a new bicycle-friendly street, North Poinsettia Place to Rosewood Avenue to 1st Street. And number three, to add a new bicycle-friendly street, North Alta Vista Boulevard to 1st Street to 3rd Street. This gap closure would use short stretches of Rosewood Avenue and 1st Street, which are already also included as bicycle-friendly streets in the bike plan. And I thank the Planning Department and Jeff Jacob Berger for working with us to work out these relatively modest amendments.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you as well to my two chairs who have done a great job, and to the public. I mean, we all know there's been a biking revolution in this city. You all have been a part of it. I've shared the story that I cut my political teeth actually working on bicycle activism when I was 7 years old with my uncle, who along with my father were great cyclists, and he wanted to have a veloway along the freeways, and I licked envelopes, and while that didn't come to fruition as such, and probably it's a good idea it doesn't, since that was right next to the freeways, and we don't think we will want to bicycle right next to those fumes, it certainly got me excited about the possibilities in the city, and every single time we reimagine what the city can look like, whether it's ciclavia, whether it's just going with some friends or a commute, it is often done on our bicycles. But we still make bicycling way too difficult in the city, whether it's us as drivers, whether it's us as a city bureaucracy, whether it is the public at large. But I think we're beginning to change that. led by some great people inside. We have a lot of cyclists inside this city. We now have our own bike lockers and showers here for people who commute as city employees. And I think as we've changed that attitude, there's a lot that has changed on the physical landscape as well. Thank you to extraordinary work from our departments on this. And I want to thank Joe Linton, who's my appointee as well on the Bicycle Advisory Committee, and Marcel Porras from my staff. Mr. Labange, I fully support and seconded your motion. The Citizens Committee to Save Elysian Park has a lot of reps here today, and I know this is my neighbors. Howdy to my neighbors, and thank you for, I usually see you out in the park and share 100% the desire to keep the park the way that is. There are good places for bicycles, but not on the pathways that we walk on in the morning times. At the same time, we have to make sure for our cyclists out on the streets that they are as safe as we are walking on those paths as well. And one of the things I wanted to point out and just thank for everybody's work, too, is the Technical Design Handbook. This is, if you haven't taken a look at it, you should, but it's amazing. I mean, everything from the length of our bicycles, tandems, and recumbents to looking at the grades of our bridges, looking at design standards on our preferred designs, what fencing should look like. This is not only good for bicyclists, but it's nice to have design standards for a city. This is something Mr. Reyes, I know, is passionate about. In our individual neighborhoods, we've talked about it. But you know you're in L.A. when you see certain things. It's kind of like you know you're in West Hollywood when you see those blue lights that are on the street that are kind of their emblem. For us, we should have designs that say you are in Los Angeles right now. And particularly for bicyclists, it's a great way to announce they're in a city now that embraces bicycles, that not only wants to make them safer, but make it so that we can reduce our pollution and reduce our traffic for pennies on the dollar of what it would cost to build us out of this. So congratulations, Mr. Reyes and Mr. Rosendahl, and to the bicycle community for a great job. We will protect our hikers and our equestrians while moving forward with a city that is finally bicycle friendly.
Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Labange, and Mr. Reyes.
Yeah, just rather quickly, I'd just like to, for the record, say a few things. We brought Charlie Beck in and got him engaged with the cycling community to understand and appreciate the needs of the cycling community. There's been 4, 5, 6 meetings, and I've heard that the cooperation is really at its best that it's ever been. We amended the traffic study requirements for new development so that developers wouldn't just count cars, but bikes and pedestrians as well. We dedicated a set aside for bicycle infrastructure in our Measure R, local return. There is money that we will be getting that we can go forward with it. We have an ordinance coming forward that will create a private cause of action for a cyclist that's harassed on the roadway, a first of its kind in the nation. We also have an intern working with city planning to develop new bike parking standards for new development. 3 foot for safety. We also today, on the roads, motorists pass cyclists too closely. The slightest error by the motorist or the most minor shift by a bicyclist to avoid rough pavement can lead to a collision with tragic consequences. Every year, thousands of people on bicycles are injured and killed in California by such collisions. This bill, sponsored in part by the California Bike Coalition and us, would require motorists to give at least 3 feet of clearance while passing a cyclist. This is stuff that is extremely critical to move forward. What are the details in this plan, real quickly? It increases the number and types of bicyclists who bicycle in the city. It makes every street a safe place to ride a bicycle, makes the city of Los Angeles a bicycle-friendly community. The 210 plan was designated with 1,680 miles of bikeways. We're creating 3 networks, a backbone. Just think of a freeway, the spine of the system for traveling long distance. 2, neighborhood. Think local streets, safe streets for families and short trips. And green, bike paths along the LA River in Bayona. This 5-year implementation plan means that we will monitor, assist, and advise the implementation efforts. The groups involved in the bicycle plan implementation team, these groups composed of city staff for relevant departments, cycling community members, as well as local agencies and municipalities, to create an opportunity for the bike plan stakeholders to develop a rapport and thus facilitate the implementation project. We will also have a technical design handbook to guide the design of the cycling facilities. That's a lot of different stuff, and I just want to put it out there to know that we've come a long way from where we were, and I think this 5-year plan will see a lot of action, but I want everybody in the room to know it's always a work in progress, and we need to interact continuously with each other to make it work. I don't know if any other colleagues are on the queue, are they? Yes.
Yes, they are. Mr. LeBonge, Mr. Reyes.
Okay, and then after that, if we could let the community respond to what we've said, it would be great as
We
well.
have
Thank you.
approximately 30 cards from the speakers.
Well, here's what I'd like to ask members. I'm going to give up my time right now, and let's have a 10-minute a comment period. And if you could, if those who would, if I could ask, yeah, Ed.
I'd like to.
All right. But one thing, no, Ed, I want to make sure, on Waring, from Paramount to Pink's, is that included? From Paramount to Pink's, is that included?
Paramount Studios to Pink's Hot Dogs.
We'll take a look at that while there's public
I
comment.
just wanted to try to get these guys to laugh a little there.
All right. Council President?
Mr. Reyes.
I just want to rise, and I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge folks like the LA County Bicycle Coalition. They've been tremendous in working with me in Westlake MacArthur Park. They bring helmets and lights and safety and education to the workers that, quite frankly, see this as a necessity from getting to their work, their home, and taking care of their daily needs. We've got an amazing culture that's emerging, opportunities, entities like Bicycle Kitchen, the Bicycle Oven. These are groups that work with kids. They actually get spare parts. They get bikes that have been abandoned. The youngsters and neighbors come. They put them together. They actually put bikes together. They offer them bikes. It's another way of working in the city and being generous and working with our youth. And that, to me, is worth all the money in the world. You got folks like the Bicycle Pigeon who are bringing quality bikes and quality products in the inner city, which speaks to an engagement of people of different income groups that can actually enjoy this whole shift in this culture. And lastly, I want to thank Lupe Vela and Jill Soriel from my office who have been the stewards that have been helping me get through this process. Thank you very much.
Mr. Reyes, Mr. LeBonge, is the will of the body to have 10 minutes, minute apiece.
Just make one point. I checked with the city attorney. If it's 1 minute and if it's 20 minutes total, everybody could have their comment. So if
There's more than 20 cards, Mr.
I got
LeBonge.
that. You've got to figure that out, Mr. President. So
I can figure it out. There's more than 20 cards. If you want 20 minutes, then some people won't be able to speak.
Well, I would like everybody to work together.
So if you don't want to take up your whole minute, just because you get a minute, you can take less time so everyone can speak. We'll start with Alex Thompson. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Krikorian, I just saw you flash up.
Go either way.
Okay.
Go after if you want. That's fine.
All right, okay, we can hold it then. Followed by Joseph Reali. Followed by, go ahead, sir.
Alex Thompson, Bike Side, Mar Vista Community Council. Thanks for the shout out, Bill. I'm gratified to be here today. I'm really proud of this bike plan. I think it's something that makes us competitive with all the other great cities in the United States. I think it's a better bike plan than what they have in New York City. I think it's a better bike plan than what they have in Chicago. I'm pleased that we have the Backbone Network in there. That's a visionary thing that was put together by the bike community, and I think planning put their signature on the plan and on that policy proposal. So I think that will work really well. And overall, I think this is going to be a great bike plan for us.
Alex, here's some
Joseph Reali.
work you do.
Thank you, Bill.
Followed by Lynn Brown. Joseph Reali, followed by Lynn Brown.
My name's Joseph Breali. I'm the founder of the Los Angeles Bike Oven out of the Fightin' First District, Councilman Ed Reyes. I've read most of this bike plan cover to cover in the last 8 hours, and it's really tough for an elected official to make an informed decision about traffic safety in Los Angeles. In this bike plan, there's some momentous steps being made to document the trail of blood on our streets. There's an annual report in Section 2.24 and 3.24 having to do with crashes in the city of LA. This crash data shouldn't be reported annually in the Transportation Committee. It should be available as a layer in Navigate LA. It should be available as open data on Google Maps and Yahoo Maps. And I'd like for you guys to incorporate that in the bike plan. Additionally, the National Bicycle and Pedestrian Documentation Project has standards. They've published federal guidelines for pedestrian and bicycle surveys. In that same section of the plan, these standards need to be mentioned, and they need to be brought to bear in the City of LA's annual bike count. Thank you so much for all the hard work on this, council members, and I look forward to working with you on this in the future, Ed Reyes.
Ms. Brown, followed by Jane Harrington.
Hello, my name is Lynn Brown. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am here to represent the Coalition for Safe Trails, an organization dedicated to public safety on city park trails, and including the Griffith J. Griffith Charitable Trust, which is president is Van Griffith, who is the great-grandson of the Griffith family. There are many of the people here that I would list that are under this coalition who are going to speak for themselves. So I want to say I can't speak for them. I want to say that we support Tom LaBonge's motion, the current motion ahead of us, to add his motion. And thank you very much.
Jane Harrington.
Hello, I would like to support Tom LaBonge's motion to change or to support the amendment for having no mountain bikes on our park trails. The mountain bikes are recreational vehicles. It's not a mode of transport, and they're equivalent to having a fun house of horror for the horses on the trails, and other park users would also come under some stress from them. So I would like to propose that the mountain bikes be put in a separate category and not put as a mode of transport, as they don't use the regular trails. They tend to come out, jump out of the bushes at people. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Kent Strumpel, followed by Ling Cotto.
Kent Strumpel, City of Los Angeles Bicycle Advisory Committee. Just want to thank all of you for your hard work and shepherding this along, and it's really ushering in a new era, I believe, for cycling in this city, and I'm very excited to see it get adopted and implemented, and I especially want to thank all the staff who have really put a lot of work in this and really responded well to the cycling community, I think, in the past few months. So thank you very much, and looking forward to the implementation.
Hi, my name is Melanie Cotto. I'm a member of the Equine Advisory Committee, and we support the motion being put forth by Council Members Reyes and LaBonge. Thank you very much.
Joseph Young, followed by Alex Lance, followed by Glenn Bailey.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Joe Young, a member of the Sierra Club. I'm a longtime hiker in city parks and greatly love Griffith Park. I want to thank the city and its staff for its tremendous hard work in putting this document together. It was a tremendous effort. There is language in the plan that scares us, and I wish it weren't there, because it could open the door to mountain biking in city parks. That is why we support strongly the amendment put forward by Councilman LaBonge and Councilman Reyes that makes it clear that the existing city ordinance that prohibits mountain biking in city parks be respected, and that any suggestion that mountain biking might be allowed in city parks be referred to the Recreation and Parks Commission. Thank you.
Hi, Alexis Lance, Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition. I think, as Councilmember Reyes has pointed out today, that our roads are currently biased against those who cannot drive because either they're too old or too young, can't afford to because of their immigration status, or because they choose not to. The document before all of us today provides us with a vision of safer streets that provide for more than just the movement of cars. And by passing and committing to the implementation of this plan, we're taking a tremendous step forward towards creating complete streets, safer streets, and a more equitable, healthier, and livable Los Angeles. Unlike plans in the past, this current plan provides an implementation plan, a solid strategy for moving forwards based on need, closing gaps, and creating a complete network. It will ensure that this plan does not end up on the shelf, but integral to implementation is your leadership in your districts and citywide. And we're depending on you to help move this plan forward over the coming days, weeks, months, and years. Thank you so much.
Glenn Bailey.
Glenn Bailey. I am Vice Chair of the City's Bicycle Advisory Committee. This plan makes me think, to paraphrase William Mulholland of 100 years ago, there it is, take it. You have a comprehensive plan if you can implement it. And I think that's the challenge, as was said, for all of us. Every district, the cyclists, the neighborhood councils need to be engaged as well to really work and to set the stage now for what
as gas prices are going up once again, I can guarantee you're going to see a lot more cyclists on the road. If we had been at this position 15 years ago, we would have been better prepared to meet those demands. But, now's the time. We can't turn back the clock, but we can start now aggressively and work to improve our street conditions and improve the education of motorists and cyclists to improve the safety of both. Thank you.
Charlotte Brody, followed by Jeff Jockelberger.
Good morning, afternoon. I'm Charlotte Brody. I'm Trail Coordinator for Equestrian Trails Corral 54 in Chatsworth, and we are supportive of this bike plan with the motion by Councilman Labange and Reyes. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Jeff Jacobberger. I'm the 10th Council District Representative to the LA Bicycle Advisory Committee. First, I want to thank Councilmember Koretz for making the amendment to fix a little gap in our neighborhood. But also, now the hard work begins. I think LA historically has put bike facilities where it's easy to do it, and in places like the 10th District, densely built up, lower income, it's going to be hard. And I'm looking forward to all of your leadership and support in putting the bike facilities where they're needed and where it's going to be hard to do that. Thank you.
Jim Shanman. Jim Shanman. Followed by Mark Langton and Steve Messer.
Good afternoon. Thank you for considering the bicycle master plan, and especially to the staff for working hard to get it to this point. As a native Angelino and avid mountain bike rider, hiker, and trail maintenance worker, I've been riding and hiking in the Santa Monica Mountains for over 40 years, and I've seen all kinds of users out there, and I fully support this plan in its entirety. I especially want to call your attention to sections 3.3 and 3.4 to go ahead with some studies to see about the feasibility of allowing off-road biking in the city parks. Right now, the youth in the urban areas have no access to these parks by bike, so they can ride to the parks, but they can't ride in the parks, and that just seems kind of backwards to me. So I support the plan in its entirety. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mark Langton, President, Concerned Off-Road Bicyclists Association. We support the plan in its entirety. I just wanted to point out that a mountain bike is a bicycle, therefore it is a mode of transportation. The streets should not stop at the trails. There are feasible ways of riding bicycles on dirt paths and trails, and I hope that the plan and the study studies that aspect of the transportation for this plan. Thank you.
Steve Messer, then Jay Slater. Go ahead.
My name's Steve Messer. I'm the Vice President of the Concerned Off-Road Bicycle Association, and I've been riding mountain bikes for 25 years in the areas surrounding Los Angeles where multi-use seems to work just fine. And the current plan we support in its entirety. It calls for study of the accessibility of bicycles on city trails, and we know that if that study is carried out, the demand will be demonstrated, and that in surrounding jurisdictions, it is possible for multiple uses on trails to work together and to coexist. So we fully support the plan. The decisions should be made on facts, not hearsay. And if those studies are done, the facts will show that there is demand and that the bicycle facilities in other jurisdictions work just fine. So please pass the plan today. Thank you.
Jay Slater, followed by John Gerfen.
I'm Jay Slater. I am the chairman of the LA Bicycle Advisory Committee. I, too, want to express my tremendous thanks to Councilman Rosendahl and Reyes and Labange and the other members of TCOM and Plum Committee, the members of the Planning Department and LADOT, Michelle Mowry, and her staff. My point today is that there are 15 members of the committee appointed by you, the City Council. They represent each of your districts. There are 4 of us, myself included, Glenn Bailey, who spoke a moment ago, who are appointed by the mayor. There are 4 of us. We stand ready to work to implement this plan. This plan should not go the way of the 1996 plan. As Councilman Rosendahl appropriately pointed out, there is money here, there is will here. We have a political will in this chamber. You have tremendous political will sitting behind you among the activist community. Let us all work together and not let this moment get by us, and let's make this a better city.
Thank you, sir.
My name is John Gerfin, and I'd like to thank the council for allowing me this opportunity to speak. As the councilman said, that this is going to be an ongoing discussion, and maybe we're starting that discussion right now. I am aware of a bike path that is being built in Councilman Zine's district, and it's 2.2 miles, and we already have one. It's on the Orange Line busway, so it's like 20 minutes from my place and even closer. So why are we going to spend $10 million to do something that we already have? It is quite literally the bike path that starts nowhere and ends nowhere. So thank you.
Gail Wilkie? Gail Wilkie? No Gail Wilkie? Jerry Hans? Jerry Hans? Followed by Christine Peters.
Jerry Hans, Friends of Griffith Park. We're a nonprofit advocacy, education, and service organization. If you haven't noticed, a lot more families are showing up in our city parks for hiking. Economic times, maybe, or maybe parents are realizing their kids need more exercise. Either way, you don't want to ever take that away from them. Mountain bikes mixed with kids on the trails of our city parks creates a very dangerous situation. It's simple physics. Bikes are hard, people are soft, and kids even more vulnerable because of their size. Plus, kids also have that human behavior component, and they occasionally will dart in the wrong direction, perhaps in front of a mountain bike. Friends of Griffith Park would prefer having any reference to biking on unpaved roads in our parks out of the bicycle plan completely. Thank you.
Vicki Brink.
Good afternoon, council members. Christine Peters, President, Citizens Committee to Save Elysian Park. I want to thank Council Member Reyes, Council President Garcetti, and Council Member Labange, and all of you, everyone here, for putting so much work into this. This is a 98% successful plan. I am 100% supportive of the Department of Recreation and Parks request to remove any recreational elements from the plan. However, I think the amendment as it stands right now will protect that in the meantime to make that adjustment later down the road. Anything to do with transportation, we need to improve circulation in the city. We need people to get out of their cars and get on their bikes. We need people walking. So anything to do with Measure R, we need to really get that money working right away to improve circulation in the city. Let's not distract the issue by focusing on recreation. Let's focus on transportation, and let's move forward. Thank you very much.
Vicki Brink, then Susan Borden.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for letting me talk today. My name is Vicki Brink. I'm the Foothill Trails District Neighborhood Council's equestrian chair. I belong to the LA Horse Council. I personally like the bike plan completely as far as the transportation part of it. I would request that you drop the mountain bike altogether. If that is not the case and it cannot be dropped, then I do support the amendment that LaBlanche has put forth. I want it to stay in the hands of the Rec and Parks. My only regret is that the only thing that I have been experienced with mountain bikes is that I was in a trail, we were on a trail walking expedition, and two mountain bikes hit us, a plate and 2 pins in the arm later, and we were hikers. We were not equestrians. So the only thing that I ever know of a mountain bike is coming over a hill, collapsing our arm, and surgery later. So thank you.
Thank you. Susan Borden. Then we'll go to the San Fernando Valley for a couple of speakers. Susan Borden.
I support the amendment that would give Recreation and Parks the ability to review anything about mountain bikes on the trails. I do support bicycles on city streets.
We're going to go to the San Fernando Valley. Ma'am, just Rick Nightingale, followed by Donna Perriman in the San Fernando Valley. Then we'll come back downtown.
Yeah, Rick Nightingale. You know, I'll tell you, I couldn't believe why they changed it, that the bike, that you have to go with the flow of traffic. I don't understand why they did that. But then I hear that they were just speaking regarding turnaround, and you have to, a car has to be 3 feet away from the bicyclist. I feel sorry for the bicyclist, but now why don't you just close one of the lanes right next to it, because there is no way that you can get around the bicyclist to turn around when you're going to pass them. By law, that a cop can write you a ticket for passing too close. Now, you know, I'm sorry, but this is a car. This town is made for cars, not bicyclists. I feel sorry for them because so many have gotten hit, but let's face it. The cars are going down the road. The bicyclists can't see the car because they're going in the opposite directions now. That when I was a kid, it wasn't that way. I mean, you're going in the same direction. And now you have to turn, you have to have 3 feet clearance. Something's wrong here. I'm really sorry. Thank you.
Donna Perriman in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah, I also want to agree with Rick Nightingale that I'm totally against having to have 3 feet. What you have is if you're driving and all of a sudden you see a bicyclist and you have to hurry up and get out 3 feet, and then you have to worry about the other car. And then now I believe this is going to cause accidents. I don't think this is a very good thing, but I'm not taking much time. Thank you.
Sally Neubauer, followed by Al Mugia.
Can't bring it home.
Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Sally Neubauer. I'm Assistant President of the Citizens Committee to Save Elysian Park. Thank you all so very much for the hard work on this plan, and I really appreciate your working with the community to try to resolve the mountain bike issue in our city parks. I'm very pleased that we have an amendment that states that this study would definitely go before the Rec and Parks Commission before anything is approved for further mountain biking in our city parks. Thank you.
Followed by Al Mugia, then Carol Brusha.
My name is Al Moja. I'm a member of the Sierra Club, the Griffith Park section, and a hike leader. I have no objections to the bicycle master plan. Except for the exception of the 3.3 and 3.34, which puts future studies for mountain bikes in the park, in our city parks. The problem is that mountain bikes do present a very real and demonstrated danger to other park users. There's some places where mountain bikes are appropriate, and some places where they're not. And one place where they're not is Los Angeles city parks, where you have a wide range of people with all kinds of physical abilities. You have young people, old people, and that, and they can't always get out of the way of a fast-moving downhill bike with a rider and equipment that weighs 150 pounds that can't control it at those speeds. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Carol Bruchet. I support 98% of the bike plan, or 99% of the bike plan, as a transportation plan for road bikers. My husband and I have been driven away from many hiking areas in Southern California because of mountain bikers. Mountain biking is a recreational activity, not a transportation activity. Therefore, I would like to see the references in Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 removed from the transportation plan as an amendment. I do support Tom Labange and Ed Reyes's amendment. Thank you.
That completes our 20 minutes. We are now at 21 minutes, and we have 9 more cards, so we can read these names into the record, then proceed. The following speakers' cards will be into the record, and then we'll go to Mr. Corian. Miriam Dodge, Barbara Jarvik, Cecilia. I understand you're not going to be able to speak. We're reading you in the record. We've already allocated the 20 minutes and used that up. Cecilia Wagers, Mary Louise Heckman, John Norton, Nina Elasopa, Julia Tarwaski, and Audria Gutman, and Bicycle Master Plan. Those are the other 9. Mr. Kokorian.
Can I hear from staff first? That's fine.
Pardon me?
Would you rather I speak now or after staff?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say how important this policy is. It's too rare that we take a long view and do something that really is going to lay set the table for the future to the extent that we have in this bicycle master plan. And I really want to applaud all of my colleagues who've worked so hard on this, and of course our staff who've been really relentless in trying to develop a comprehensive policy which is going to be very effective in creating greater transportation opportunities in this city. My great concern at the time that we discussed this in committee was the opportunity that this appeared to present for conflict between mountain bikers and hikers and equestrians. And as some of the speakers mentioned, in some parts of our city, this is a very significant public safety issue. And I've had repeated stories about equestrians whose lives have been put in danger, literally, because of the impact of mountain bikers who are illegally operating on trails that are designated for equestrians. So when those concerns were discussed in committee, I very much appreciate the staff created amendments to the policy which I believe will address those concerns. My preference would be to have those recreational aspects not a part of this policy, but because so much work has been put into this and because this is a comprehensive, well-thought-out policy, I think that the amendment put forward by Mr. Labange takes us, as well as the amendments proposed by staff, take us very far towards resolving those issues. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciate this work, and I think that it's, I think for all of my equestrian friends and for the hikers out here, these amendments that we're going to be discussing today, I believe, resolve the concerns that many of us had. But it's important that in implementation, we continue to be vigilant about ensuring that safety issue of keeping bikers and hikers and equestrians separate.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Yes, staff wants to add something to the record here for us to be clearly aware
very
of.
briefly, in building on what Councilmember Krikorian just mentioned, staff has prepared, per the direction of Plum Committee and Transportation Committee, we have come back with technical amendments that are before you today, addressing some of the issues that he has referenced. Those should be incorporated as part of your action today. And then the additional amendment, the motion that was mentioned, the Labange-Reyes motion, would amend and actually supersede one of those proposed policies, policy 3.3.5, which would supersede staff's proposed language. And then just finally, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank and recognize the staff that has worked on this plan. You've heard from the general managers of our two departments and from the management teams of our departments, but those who have done the real work and the real heavy lifting are sitting at the table. Michelle Mowry and her Bikeways program, Paul Meshkin and her staff at the Bikeways program at LADOT, and from our Department of City Planning, Claire Bowen, who has worked on this plan over the last year, Jordan Turner, who has been on the project for the last 3 years, as well as Jane Choi, who has made invaluable contributions. They have been working with the bicycle community, and we thank the bicycle advocates for this partnership to move the plan forward to this point.
All right. No one else on the queue. Mr. Labange has a request. Mr. Alex Baum. Mr. Alex Baum.
I call for the question on mountain bike.
No, call for the question on all bikes, on the bike plan.
On the bike plan. Call for the question on the bike plan.
The founder of Bicycles, Alex Baum.
Good job, Alex.
Alex Baum has been on the Bicycle Advisory Committee since I was a child, because I was on there with you many years ago, Alex.
By the way, Mr. Zine was the first member of the Bicycle Advisory Committee under Mayor Bradley.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Okay, the question's been called.
First of all, I want to thank the planning, DOT, and the terrific job they did on the plan. And I want to thank especially Michelle for the tremendous job they did for the rest of it. The other thing I want to bring up.
All right, thank you, Alex. And now we're going to take the vote, colleagues.
We're taking the vote.
Open the roll.
Yes, Alex.
Close the vote. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, thank you. Forthwith, Alex, okay. If the request is forthwith.
Oh, that's it.
Thank you, Alex Baum. Next item, Mr. Clerk. All right, we'll do public comment now. Colleagues,